In my 24 years of playing the drums, there was always one groove that I found harder to learn than anything else: the halftime shuffle. I mean, we're talking Porcaro, Rosanna. We're talking Bonham. We're talking Bernard Purdie. Danger on the rocks is surely pan. And we'll also look at some more modern shuffles later on in the video. We've all heard a shuffle or two, and I'm sure that a lot of you have played one too. But what is it about this groove that just makes it so unbelievably hard to play? And once you've got it down, what can you do to take it to the next level? Well, shuffle on in, my dudes, because that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Back in the day, learning this groove took me so long to get down, man. Honestly, a depressing amount of time. But through my trials and tribulations, and by teaching it to, by this point, hundreds of students, I've managed to distill down the halftime shuffle into 5 easy to understand but difficult to play categories. Shuffle your way through these 5 steps and you'll be killing it in no time. So let's get straight into it. 1. Subdivisions. Playing a groove without knowing what subdivision you're in is like pouring a glass of water without knowing where the cup is. Sure, you might get some water in there, but you're unlikely to fill it up because you don't actually know what you're aiming for. And for this groove, we want to be playing in 8th note triplets. So you can start off by playing 8th note triplets on the hi-hat, and then all we're going to do is drop out the middle triplet. So now we're playing the first and last triplet of each groove. You could add in your snare drum on beats 2 and 4. That would give you a full-time shuffle, which is a whole other field to explore. But for today, we're going to add in our snare drum on beat 3 of the bar. Half-time shuffle. Now, to make it sound a bit more like an actual groove, for now we're just going to stick a bass drum on beat 1 of the bar. And then if you wanted to take it to the next level, you could fill in the spaces between the hi-hats, that middle triplet, with your left hand on the snare drum, which takes us into our second category, coordination. Personally, the way that I got used to playing it was to approach it just like learning any other new rudiment or sticking pattern, and just loop it round for hours, days, weeks, months, honestly, years. And I'm not even talking about playing it as a groove yet. I really mean just looping the overall sticking pattern. So to play a halftime shuffle with the ghost notes, our sticking is right, left, right, left, right, together, left, right, left, right. And we'll come to dynamics in the next section, but for now, just loop that bad boy round as though your life depends on it. And you don't even need to be on your kit to do this. Just hands and knees and you're good to go, mate. Doesn't get any simpler. Waiting in a queue, halftime shuffle. In the car, as a passenger, halftime shuffle. On the tube, halftime shuffle. At a funeral. Okay, so maybe pick and choose your moments, but you get the point, mate. So now let's go straight on to our next category. Section 3, dynamics. This next section is really gonna level up your shuffle, both in terms of musicality, but also in terms of difficulty. Remember how we just learned the sticking? Remember how we're getting on so well? Well, now we're going to take that sticking and we're going to turn every left hand, except for the downbeat of 3, into a ghost note. Don't hate me, mates. This is going to make the groove so much harder to play, but it will honestly transform the feel of it and it will sound so much sicker. Just like when you're learning a rudiment, the accents and the ghost notes help to give that rudiment shape so that it sounds more musical. And when you're doing this with a halftime shuffle, it's really no different. This will take it from sounding like an exercise to sounding like an actual groove. It is difficult and it does take time, but what's the rush, mate? Just stay patient and keep chipping away at it. Like anything, it will get easier the more you do it. And the best tip I can give you is to play along with music so that you can hear it as a groove rather than staying in exercise mode. Now, our next category is kick placement. Playing your kick on one does sound cool, but it's very limited, so without more options, you might find you have a hard time properly locking in with the bass player. Experiment with where you play your kick in this groove style and see what combinations you like the sound of. You can start off by playing your kick on downbeats and then also have a go at playing them on upbeats or the last triplet of the beat. This will give you so many more options and make you so much more versatile in this groove style. Stuck with where to start? Well, fear not, mate. The songs that we started off this lesson with will be a perfect jumping off point, and you can download the notation for free by following the link in the video description. There's also a few more tracks on there as well, which will take us onto our next category. Category 5, make it your own. Now that you've played the halftime shuffle, how are you going to put your stamp on it? Of course, this is a classic groove that isn't going anywhere, and drummers are still ripping in this style. But in more modern times, you've got drummers, for example, like Ellis Dupuy, who's playing the classic halftime shuffle groove, but in a more modern setting with this Puma Blue track. This example of Yussef Dayes adding buzz strokes into the shuffle like an absolute madman. And this is where things are gonna start to get gnarly. Check out this Nate Smith shuffle and get down, get down. We're gonna need to pull up the notation for this one. So this is a super interesting interpretation of a shuffle. We still have that backbeat on beat 3 of the bar, still playing in triplets with a lot of hi-hats in the shuffle position, but he's definitely putting his own spin on it. I've just written out 4 bars here, but there's already a lot to dig into. In that third bar, everything is played in a linear feel, so you don't hit 2 parts of the kit at once, except for the first note. There's a lot of substitutions going on, so swapping one part of a kit for another. For example, here on beat 4 of the bar, we're playing a hi-hat foot instead of a hi-hat, adding in rests in different positions and these longer quarter note phrases that give the groove a lot more space. And then there's embellishments and motifs such as turning this note here into a double stroke, and also that wicked motif played between the high tom and the floor tom, which again sounds like a classic shuffle. Do-doom, do-doom. Such a sick groove concept to explore, so I gotta have a go at it. Almost like he's taken the classic shuffle and just manipulated it. And speaking of shuffle manipulation, check out this Noah Furbringer shuffle from the track Moonwalker. What a beast of a groove, man. Again, let's pull up the notation and dig a little deeper. Firstly, I decided to write this one in 16th note triplets rather than 8th note triplets. Personally, I felt like that made a bit more sense in the context of this particular track. In this groove, Noah Furbringer is utilizing similar concepts as Nate Smith was in the previous groove, but with a totally different sounding outcome. He's essentially substituting phrases of the shuffle with stickings such as double paradiddles or right left left or kick right right. But these substitutions, in my opinion, make the groove sound a lot more modern. And is it even a shuffle anymore, or by this point, is it just a triplet based groove? Well, the grey area, that's where I want to be. So let's give this groove a try. Because this one's techie, I'll play it for you slow and fast. Man, what a sick groove and what a sick concept. There's so much stuff in there to explore. And I definitely recommend, once you've got your halftime shuffle down and feeling confident, have a go at seeing if you can start to substitute parts of your halftime shuffle with any of your go-to triplet phrasing. And the sick thing is, because everybody's go-to phrasing is slightly different, if 10 drummers gave it a go, you'd end up with 10 different grooves. Man, give it a go and see what you can come up with. And if you'd like to go deeper on the concepts that we looked at today, I've just dropped a course over on my membership called Modernising the Halftime Shuffle, where we do just that. So I'll put a link in the video description if you'd like to check that out. But either way, you can download all of the notation for the tracks that we looked at today for free down below. And if you want to check out some more mad dog grooves, check out this video here all about fusion drumming, and I'll catch you over there.